Hello, hello, hello. I am finally, finally here. A little bit, later than I wanted to. Like, ideally, I wanted to do this stream yesterday, but stuff got in the way, sadly. But hey, at the end of the day, here we are. And I think that counts for something, right? Yeah. Like initially this stream was supposed to be yesterday in the morning, but then I realized I wanted to go to the library city over, and that library for some reason on fucking Saturday was open only from like 10 to 12, and I was like, oh, this is when the stream was supposed to happen. Okay, no worries, I will just push it to evening, because I will just go get the things I want, and then like when I come back I can do the stream yeah, in the evening or something like that. And then when I was going back, uh because I went by bike with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend bike fucking had a catastrophic breakdown that we couldn't fix. So like, thank God on the way back that happened. We still had like some kilometers to go, so we're just so we just had to, like, push the fucking bikes and only really ride them downhill, because you couldn't like ride it normally. And yeah, I was covered in fucking. I still have like some what you fucking call it? Not oil, but the black smearing thing for the chain to like go properly. Like, my whole hands were fucking black from trying to repair the thing in the en route, and like it still didn't completely come off. So that was fun. So yeah, like, so my mood was completely fucking ruined for that day, and we also came back way later than I would like to. Yeah, Greece. That's the word I was looking for. Um, and like, also my face. Right now, I don't think it's kinda red, but like yesterday, I was as red as a fucking tomato, because also amazing timing when we were going back home, like all of the clouds just parted and the sun started shining so fucking badly that I got sunburned in the time, like, before we got home. Not really sunburned, but like I was red all over. So yeah. Ah, great Saturday for me. And yeah, like the title says, I finally decided to bite the bullet and check out the uh, Warhammer text to speech series. I didn't want to, like, yeah, I wanted to do a couple of episodes, because from what I seen, these first episodes are like really short. So first, I will just go through this new Mandalore video, because it's really short. I want to get this Warlockracy video out of the way too, because it's because it's been on the watch later list for quite a time now, and I am very curious about it. And then I will do like first 5 episodes of If the Emperor Had Text-to-Speech Device, and that's probably going to be it for today. It's gonna be a little bit shorter stream, and I this was also on the If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device like playlist, an intro to the Dark Millennium. I kinda wanna check it out and see what that is too. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this stream. Before we get started, I have 2 recommendations to consider. The first is Dark Messiah is Elder Scrolls for Chads. It's a review of Heroes of Might and Magic Dark Messiah. And the second is just called I Love This Game Dark Messiah. I had that on my mind recently, and the second video is under a minute. The third is Reggie's Barotrauma video. I don't expect to get any of them today, but they are all very fun and something to consider. I mean, if one of them is under a minute, we can just put it on right now. Like no problem. Let me see. I always like yeah, sure, you can recommend stuff here, Tiny Gladiator, no problem. Jacob Geller's stuff is top tier among top tier stuff. Jacob Geller, do I know that guy? I'm just gonna take a quick look. Oh, this video was recommended to me actually. Like his newest one, I guess. I started some video of his, but I guess I didn't like see it. Yeah, none of this looks familiar, but yeah, sounds like okay. I think I watched the decade-long quest for Shadow of Colossus Last Secret. I think.
This is not a general discussion thread. If you wish to chat, please confine it to the rest of the boards. Thank you.
Yep. He went through like all of the crazy shit that went on forums of Shadow of Colossus. Because people were certain there is like one last secret to be found. Yeah. I seen this video. It was fucking top notch. So so yeah, I really recommend this video. I don't think like his videos were recommended to me a bunch of times by YouTube itself, and I never clicked on them because Perfect Moments in Bad Movies is also a thing I wanted to watch, and like I said, this newest one about Call of Duty. So yeah, I will go through this, pick something that really speaks to me. Other than obviously the thing I watched, because that wouldn't be that interesting, I think. So yeah, I will definitely like put a bookmark in here and for the next stream pick something out. And yeah, this minute video requested by Lich.
Sir! Sir, wake up! The manor is under attack! There are necromancers everywhere! I'm gonna see if the master is alright. Hide yourself!
Man, I really need to replay Dark Messiah. Like, I fucking loved it when I played it for the first time, but it was like so long ago now. And it's still the best when it comes to interactability with the environment.
There's no way out! We're trapped!
You won't make it. Show some skill before. What was that? He's trapped.
Yep. And like, man, the way injured enemies like actually try to stagger away from you is so fucking cool. I have never seen this in a different video game. When they are like low HP, they will literally almost crawl away from you in terror. It's such a fucking cool feeling as a player. And yeah, like my favorite of all time is that my favorite of all time in Dark Messiah is that that huge chandelier. You could like drop down and it would essentially function like as a wrecking ball in that one room. Man, I have so many fond memories with this game. And obviously, like, freezing the ground with ice to make people sleep. Shit was hilarious. Why did they stop making games like Dark Messiah again? Money, I guess. Like, I think there are a couple of cool games like Dark Messiah, like that try to emulate that style of combat and interactability, but like the bulk of them are VR exclusives, which is the perfect, you know, it's the perfect medium for that kind of sandbox, sorry. But I just don't want VR. So yeah. So yeah, starting off with what we have planned for today. We have Cryptmaster review by MandaloreGaming. Because Redfall is what everybody wants, obviously. Yeah. Man, remember when when during like the Sony presentation, they spent 10 minutes showing off that fucking stupid ass hero shooter, I think it was, and everybody went, nobody fucking wants this, Sony, can you fuck off? And you know they will release that game and be shocked that it didn't sell anything. Jesus Christ. And yeah, like nowadays there are so many horror stories with like Microsoft, for example, where that studio that made Hi-Fi Rush went out, obviously was fucking liquefied. Concord, I didn't even remember that name, man. Holy shit. That's impressive that you remembered what it's called. Oh yeah, because you told it already because you're a musician. Or were a musician. Sorry, I don't remember exactly. And yeah, like there are so many cool studios that make great games, and then like Microsoft or EA back in the day fucking liquefies them. Like everybody remembers what happened to Dead Space, Dragon Age. Fuck it, Mass Effect is on that pile too, for all I care. like so many cool things. Like even like other examples, I would say Payday 3, like the devs get lost in the sauce trying to chase the dollar, and they just stray away from what people want and what they were looking forward to in their games. So yeah, sad, kind of a sad time to play games in, but at the same time, there are so many like cool indie games you can check out right now. So you know, the medium takes, the medium gives, and the medium takes away, you could say. So yeah, the first video we're gonna be going through this stream is Cryptmaster review by MandaloreGaming. This kind of came out of the left field. I am still waiting for that Oni video by Mandalore. And like this, I didn't know he was working on, first of all. Second of all, it's an extremely short video for Mandalore. And third of all, I have no idea what Cryptmaster is. So yeah, a fun surprise.
I'm calling to you from beyond the veil that separates the living and the dead.
Oh my. What a fucking art style. Holy.
You fools, there was a sign about that. The sign specifically told you not to do that.
What the fuck is this game?
Earlier in the year, I played through a bunch of NextFest demos, and I can safely say I wasn't expecting Mavis Beacon's Tales from the Crypt to be one of my favorites, mainly because it's a type.
Oh, yeah. I think I played some of those
Earlier
too.
in the year, I played through a bunch of NextFest.
Yeah, I played, this is when I played this robot game that Brick really liked. The
Demos, and I can safely say I wasn't expecting Mavis Beacon.
Didn't play this. Oh shit, sorry. Let me turn off the speakers because you might get just an audio feedback loop.
Tales from the Crypt to be one of my favorites, mainly.
I never heard of this before his review, but it looks great. I guess you could say that you weren't expecting this type of game. That's exactly right. Holy fuck, a game where typing is an important mechanic. Like, Jesus Christ, so this is standing in the genre right next to Typing of the Dead and Scribble Notes. Man, the genre about typing might be the most diverse one on the fucking planet right now.
Because it's a typing game, and I thought this might have already peaked with Typing of the Dead.
Yeah, I just said.
The difference is that this is a slow dungeon crawler until the fighting starts. Even then, while it's not the recommended one, there is a turn-based option for combat, so it still doesn't have to be that frantic. The story itself is an easy setup. You've been woken by the Cryptmaster, who wants to reach the dungeon's surface. And like some other dungeon games, here you play a party of characters. A warrior, an assassin, a bard, and a sea witch. Which is kind of like a regular witch, but she throws more fish. But like any good dungeon, there are plenty of obstacles, weirdo characters, and other side things to get past. And throughout all of it, the Cryptmaster is your constant companion, asking what you're up to, reacting to what you type in, and trying to be helpful at 20 questions and other riddles.
No, I don't like that.
Mavis Beacon was never real, and the Cryptmaster feels like more of a genuine educator, to the point that if you avoid the game's tutorials to try and softlock yourself, he calls you out on it.
All you had to do was type the word hit. I hinted, and then I outright instructed you. I even used 2 separate tooltips.
He follows this up with a step-by-step guide on how to refund the game.
And then click on support. There will be an option to ask for a refund. And
No fucking shot! Oh, that's hilarious. Holy. Honestly, I never played any of these typing games or even heard of them. I think Typing of the Dead is available on Steam, like no problem. I really recommend it if you never played it. It's like that, you know, those old shooters like House of the Dead, where you point your cursor or light gun at the zombies and click, but instead you have to fucking type really fast. It's such a fun spin on that idea. Like, it makes the game so tense when you have to like actually react with typing.
select. The game is too hard. As your reason for wishing to do so.
If you couldn't tell already, he's the soul of this game and one of the actual designers, which does make it feel extra appropriate, and the game was made by a very small team. This is one of those games that, due to the nature of it, I don't want to show a whole ton. My first run took me about 10 hours, and there were still quite a few secrets and leads that I never followed up on. There's a good amount going on.
I never thought rats would be capable of an erection on that scale.
Right, visuals. To go for the obvious, the choice of black and white is an interesting one. It's already unusual for a movie to go that route nowadays, but for a 3D game, that's even more rare. Typically they might have some color for emphasis or a way to bring it back. Here, Cryptmaster is fully committed to the bit, and where dungeon games can have a problem with areas looking
It really reminds me of Mad World. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It was like fuck, what was it? It was an exclusive to one of those. Was it Wii? I think it was Wii. I'm not sure. Like Mad World was completely black and white, and it looked really similar to this game he's reviewing, and only like splashes of red when you were fucking up the enemies were completely red.
Similar, now you're watching it through Mr. Ed Vision. The thing is, it really works here for a few reasons. For one, the environments have
and like this specific presentation, not only the black and white, but that specific like texture quality when it has those like comic shadows. I think like in comics you usually draw shadows with those lines that go on each other and cross each other out. Really reminds me of fucking Mad World.
The work put in to make them stand out from each other. There is always a grungy, damp cave undercurrent to everything, but the locations still feel distinct and not copy and pasted from each other, which again can be one of the biggest pitfalls in this genre, and the good ones tend to avoid it. Beyond that, the style works well for the idea. After all, your entire party is undead, brought back to a cursed life by a speak and spell necromancer. So it gives them a white bony look, and thematically, that's how they see the world too. How it uses that extreme contrast in the environments and its characters is great. It really accents fine lines, glowing lights, and other detail. The Cryptmaster himself is almost always bathed in shadow to where he's nearly part of it, and once you're used to that, it's hard to imagine him in actual color. It also feels like the game is capturing a very specific art style. It could be they're pulling from some graphic novel or something else I don't know about, but I think it has to be they're drawing from 70s and 80s D&D artwork. People still play with the art style today, and everything in the game's line work just screams it. It's also a good...
I didn't know that art style existed even.
Tonal fit, since while the game is jokey, it's usually drier humor. Rather than have everything being super exaggerated or hyper colorful, it instead looks like the Turbo Nerd drawings from a first edition D&D rulebook. It does look more mundane, but it's grounded. It's having a DM who's clearly put thought and effort into the world building, but they'll still crack jokes. If they come up with a bit that's entertaining or fun, we'll just roll with it, but the world itself isn't overly wacky. It's a balance that's kind of hard to explain if you've never played a tabletop game like that, but this game nails it.
According to this book, if you suspect a lake is harboring mermen, You can simply cast a gentrify spell and count the top hats as they float to the surface. Remarkable.
There can be some jank to the character animations, especially moving through the world or fighting, but it's the kind of game where it feels like that kind of thing doesn't matter much. Besides, as you may have suspected,
Man,
this
game is so interesting because like even the way the character moves through the dungeon is so like old first person dungeon crawlers. Like for me, Persona 1 is the one that really comes to mind. But obviously Persona didn't invent this. It's just the one I have on the top of my tongue. But yeah, that exact, when you move forward, the camera moves in this very specific static way, and when you turn, you can only walk in the 4 directions.
Very audio-centric game. The main cast is great, especially the Cryptmaster, of course.
Really,
but you can also run
really cool pool of inspirations. Like the devs really have drawn from a really cool pool of inspirations. God damn.
Skulls, which will offer
What
souls
a
in exchange for
combo.
answering a riddle or logic puzzle. These sound like they're voiced by random friends and family, so the mixing is all over the place, but it's cute. Of course, going back to the star, he has an insane amount of responses. And apparently it was all done manually, so I fear how many hours this man spent in front of a dictionary just reading stuff out. A surprising amount has context too, like guessing an object in a box, which is a helmet, and if you say a shield, he'll go, it's metal and protects you, but it's not quite that. Seeing how far a tangent can go with him is a big part of the game's fun.
Ka-ching.
As for the ambient sound effects, they're pretty good. A large amount of it is just howling wind, but it's good howling wind. The soundscape is decent enough on its own that it could have carried the game, but Cryptmaster has some interesting music. There's a variety that I would not expect from a monochrome dungeon crawler. A lot of the battle music has guitars at the forefront, and when you hear the main theme, which is mysterious and creepy, you could be expecting more of that Halloween ambience, but no. There is some of that, some darker synth tracks that wouldn't sound out of place in something like The Legend of Grimrock. At least, if that game had music beyond its great main theme. Some of the tracks are more rock-influenced with the guitars, others are keyboard music that sounds straight out of later Ultima games, and it even goes into moody jazz sometimes.
Interesting music choice. Oh, this one sounds like fucking classic RPGs / dungeon crawlers.
Then some music, who knows. It keeps you guessing. As for the rest of the game, it's Haunted Wordle with some extra steps. Since your entire party is undead, their brains are more fried than trying Horse Tranquilizer in Philly, which means they have the khaki pants of role-playing games, amnesia. They may have been great heroes in life, but they've lost their memories and their skills. As you play through the game, you unlock more of them, and just type them out to use them. Enemies will drop a letter of their name, which fills out the next thing to unlock. But there are also other ways of collecting letters. When you open chests, the Cryptmaster isn't sure what's in them because his brain is kind of fried too. So you play 20 questions to help him recall the word, and if you get it, you loot every single letter of it, which is usually a big step ahead. The same goes for the riddles and other brain teasers you run across, and there are a few other ways to get individual letters too. So character progression is all about guessing what the next skill or memory is, and the more letters you have, the easier that is. You can only unlock them linearly, and each character has dozens of skills, so you're unlikely to unlock them all by the time you hit the endgame. Especially since the farther down you go, they can start reaching for some obscure vocabulary. Which, if you stack that on with 20 questions and riddles, it makes it a pretty fun game to play as a group too. Not that it has actual online functionality yet, but if you have a couch or can stream it somewhere, you'll be in luck if you know a Wordle guy. Though if you're desperate, there is an in-game hint system you can turn on where the Cryptmaster will help you out. Plus, as you're trying to guess what the words are, he reacts to the wrong answers.
What? Aye. Look, you're a zombie. If something falls off, it falls off. Pork. Why are you talking about food?
As you're just trying to upgrade your party, you're running across new interactions. Then combat gets some more added onto it. The Master helps power you through a soul stone, and in combat, some of the earlier skills are free, but it'll eventually start costing you 1 soul per letter. Many of the methods it'll give you letters will also give you souls, but there are some extras like scraping bugs off the wall, or playing cards against some characters, which you can do a bit of deck building in. As you learn more skills, you figure out new combos and strategies to win with. You are held back by cooldown timers, so while it helps, it's not all about typing as fast as humanly possible, and the enemies could have abilities that gimp your usuals. You could come to a fight and realize that using a certain letter will empower your enemy, or they might have a shield that blocks it completely, and as they strike you back, your party loses letters of their names. If you don't heal up with a skill or going back to an altar, your party dies and goes back to a save point. There are other things you can discover that add on to the system, but it's all pretty straightforward. It is easy to understand, but you do have a lot of skills to consider. And some get extremely specific, like this will only work if the enemy has the letter C in their name, so you won't use those often. I almost wish skills like that did have some kind of prompt, because once you've figured out your own wombo combo, even if the enemy has a protection against it, you won't need to go around it too often. And while you can manually increase the number of letters you loot from an enemy in the options, it does seem like something that should scale up as the game goes on, because by the time I hit the end, I had barely unlocked half of the character's skills. There are tons to find, but it's obvious you don't actually need that many. Which is good, but I guess I do wish there was some kind of hard mode to see how crazy things could get. Even with that, because of all your options, it doesn't feel that repetitive. Combat is a core part of the game, but it's not all of it. It's more a constant drive of going, what the hell is coming next, and what else can this game react to?
Man, those character designs are fucking banging. Jesus.
For reference, a friend of mine said that you could jack off to save. This was completely true. It's full of secrets with a light overarching story, but the moment-to-moment gameplay is what keeps you coming back to it. If anything, I wish the last 2 chapters of the game were longer, which does feel impressive to think when this game easily could have been a simpler gimmick that I wouldn't have cared to finish. So this is an easy recommend for me, and because of its tiny dev nature, I would highly recommend you leave a GOG or Steam review if you liked it. It's a game that deserves the boost and feels insanely refreshing. It felt like a nice vacation from some other mind-breaking games, but we'll get back on those next time.
I don't.
That's fun. That's just a fun, fucking, very unique game. Holy.
Plus an amazing soundtrack is pretty much guaranteed to elevate any game. It's that simple.
I've unlocked the elevator for you. Good luck, I love you.
And yeah, I suppose that's it for Cryptmaster review by MandaloreGaming. What a cool game with a cool gimmick, cool like character designs, cool art style, cool music. Holy shit, this thing is just really cool. And yeah, the review was definitely short and sweet. Like, I can see why Mandalore was compared to squeeze this review in between like his longer uploads, just to hopefully like reach more people to advertise this to, because yeah, this definitely deserves like more people see it and try to check it out. So yeah, cool. And moving on,
Boris?
and we will be moving on to the Russian state spends $10 million to make the worst RPG of 2024 by Warlockracy. I watched a couple of videos by Warlockracy, not enough for my liking, but they are quite long, so I often put them off. And like, yeah, he often gives insight to games that never made it outside of fucking Russia. For example, that Planet Alcatraz game, which was fucking insane. Never heard of it, and I don't think it has much of a presence outside, like I said, outside of Russia. So I am very, very curious about this game, because yeah, man, Planet Alcatraz was wild. So yeah, let's get in there and see what Warlockracy has for us this time.
Boris, we have a problem. Foreign megacorporations like the Polish CD Projekt Red, the creators of the Witcher games, and the Czech Warhorse Studios are corrupting our children's minds. They are promoting liberalist agenda and probably Russophobia as well. Well, not on my watch. All that is necessary for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing. I am putting together a team. Siberia Nova, a game developer from the town of Uyar, Russia, never actually made a video game, but at least one
this is already starting off strong, man.
of their employees worked on the 1998 CRPG classic Rage of Mages. That's good enough for me. The plot of our anti-Russophobic game will be based on the book Yuri Miroslavsky or Russians in 1612. Authored by Mikhail Zagorskin, the book is described as Russia's first historical novel of the Walter Scott type. It was first published around 200 years ago. The hero of the novel and of the game, the titular Yuri Miroslavsky, is a boyar, a member of feudal nobility, just a tier below prince. Zagorskin was criticized for not being a trained historian, so we need a proper historical consultant on our team. Enter Timofey Shevyakov, former editor-in-chief of the anti-NATO news agency and the author of the book Chronicles of the Information War. Shevyakov is associated with the pro-government hacker group Hell's Brigade, famous for feuding with the Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny. So who is Hell the hacker? Let's see. According to prosecution witnesses, listed as unemployed in Germany, eventually getting a job in technical support, fired for watching porn at work.
Man, this is this is quite the fucking power team, you know.
The brilliant hacker managed to infect the Office network with porn site viruses. Everything about this is perfect. We have our team, and we have a story. But video game production ain't free, so we need funding. The purpose of the Internet Development Institute is to funnel government rubles into online projects. Alexei Gorislavsky, the person in charge, said that the gaming projects the Institute supports could potentially replace imported foreign analogs within 3 to 5 years. It doesn't seem Gorislavsky knows much about video game production. Bad news for the taxpayers, good news for us. The budget of our game, Smuta, or Troubles, is estimated to be around $5 million by some sources, $10 million by others. So what does this buy you in Uyar, Siberia? 75 developers on staff and 50 temporary contractors working remotely. Quick Googling tells me that the budget of the Polish Russophobia game Witcher 3 was $81 million. And as you can see, despite the weight class difference, Smuta borrows heavily from the Polish franchise, or at least it tries to. The Line Media says that the game is designed to be an instrument of Russian soft power, but this is not even available in foreign languages yet.
Man, I wonder. I really would like to know how much budget did fucking Kingdom Come Deliverance have, because obviously Witcher had a bunch of budget because they already made 2 games that were kind of okay. Witcher 2 was successful. Witcher 1 definitely fucking not. So they had a little bit of money to draw from. But Kingdom Come Deliverance was like the first project of that studio, I think, and it was kickstarted too. I don't remember how much budget did they have, but they also made like an completely open world, you know, huge game. So, you know, maybe it's possible on $10 million, but I wouldn't pick an open world game because they are a fucking money pit, you know. But what do I know? Maybe the Russian fucking game engineers, the game magicians of the Rusland, have somehow broke the code and made it made this like realistic looking open world game actually be able to be made on $10 million. This dude's doing a public service in this review. Okay, I changed my opinion on that guy real fast. He's a brave one. Watching porn at work is something else. Built different, man. Built different.
You probably can't play this.
Also $10 million would go a longer way in Russia, I think, than in the West. Same thing in Poland, obviously. Like, our prices, like the wages are lower in Poland and in Russia, obviously due to money having different buying power.
But that's what I'm here for. This video is dedicated to Oleg Bilibin, the director of Siberia Nova, cowardly killed by the neo-Nazis from the illegal Belaozersk volunteer battalion under orders from their CIA handlers. And yet, the liberal establishment prefers to remain silent about it, once again showing the hypocrisy of the West. Bilibin might be gone, but the great work continues.
I am not deep into topic enough to know what is a fucking meme and what is satire in this context, so I would prefer not to speak.
Old-timers say that never before it has been as bad on our land as during the troubled times. The old Tsar died. There was a bad harvest. Poles and Cossacks invade. Boyars feud with one...
Damn those Polish people. Wait, Polish people invading Russia, what the fuck?
There was a bad harvest. Poles and Cossacks invade. Boyars...
What? What the fuck? That's not historically accurate, I think.
Boyars feud with one another. Out of desperation, the nobles in Moscow invited the Polish Prince Vladislav to rule over them and restore order. This is year 7 of the Troubles.
And
In the game's opening,
I don't remember that specific period in Polish history. It's like a blur to me. Did we fucking invade Russia? No way, right?
Hero Yuri, who at this stage is working for the pro-Polish faction, rescues his future best friend, the free Cossack Kirsha, from wild animals. The game uses loading screens to feed you historical trivia, usually relevant to whatever is happening in the level. This is how we know that the Tsardom of Muscovy had no roads, that the depths of the ancient forests were still unexplored, and that animal attacks really were a huge problem. Now, I'm not a trained historian, but I've been to quite a few Russian museums, and these interiors look authentic to me. Unfortunately, none of the objects here are interactive. You can't even sit on a bench. Kirsha wants us to do a sword fighting tutorial. There are light attacks.
Why is he?
Kirsha.
Why is he standing in the void? Is this like a common occurrence in Russia? Like, just the void consumes you when you are talking to your fellow man?
Wants us to do a sword fighting tutorial.
You know, the same thing like actually happens in Pathologic when you talk to NPCs. So this might be actually a common occurrence in there. What the fuck is happening in Russia?
tutorial. There are light attacks, power attacks, you can block and dodge. I won every single battle in this game by spamming left click and occasionally using the one cooldown based ability Yuri has. This is a linear game, a bunch of levels that need to be completed in a sequence. The next place we'll visit is our former home, a settlement governed...
Okay, so it's not an open world game. I admit I kinda assumed it was. I kinda assumed it was open world because you have the compass, he was riding a horse, there was a lot of bugs. Things I usually associate with open world games, right? But apparently not. They're closed levels, which is a good idea for smaller budget games, don't get me wrong, but you shouldn't have those many bugs there.
by the Boyar Kruchina. And this is the RPG system. You gain levels and unlock these slots, and then you put collectible items into the slots for minor bonuses. It's a strangely gamey system for a project with a historical theme. Sneaking is a mechanic. There is a side quest where we eavesdrop on the local holops. A holop is a non-free citizen, property of a boyar, a tier below serf. Kirsha is not a holop, and neither is Yuri. Our boss Kruchina sends us on an important mission. Many Muscovite nobles swore fealty to the Pole Vladislav, but some individuals, like Prince Pozharsky from Nizhny Novgorod, simply refuse to calm down. They are building an army. Our task is to travel to Novgorod, infiltrate Pozharsky's militia, and find out what they're up to. This is beautiful. Someone should make an RPG in this setting.
Yeah, this actually looks honestly decent. Kinda reminds me of Assassin's Creed for some reason. Maybe because you know, just seeing like an old-timey port really reminds me of that setting. This almost looks like this shot right here when he's just walking. This almost looks like fucking Assassin's Creed Russia, you know?
And find
or
out what they're
like that.
Up to. This
an RPG being in a very historical set is a very neat idea for demonstrating how the world used to be, but you would need it to be on the level of Red Dead Redemption 2 to do it right. Yeah, like Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's exactly that, and it takes... and the story takes place in Czech Republic, naturally.
Is beautiful. Someone should make an RPG.
And yeah, it's basically it's basically what you described for the Czech Republic, right?
In this setting. So it turns out it's impossible to create a AAA game on a budget this small. The developers had to cut corners. This huge-ass city has a total of 4 interactive objects. The drinking pots. You drink water to replenish HP. That's it. There is nothing else. You can't even talk to the merchants.
Wow.
My theory...
Wow, that's fucking bad. Holy...
is that Smuta was designed in this very specific way to get past the government auditor. When Gorislavsky sends someone to check on what is that exactly they are doing with the Institute money, the devs will show them the beautiful locations, the 2D art, the work of professional voice actors. And not knowing any RPG theory, the auditor will be satisfied. Truly is beautiful, the medium of RPG. We keep inventing new ideas. In this case, a new way of appropriating government funds. Only a small part of the city is explorable. Approaching the gate teleports us to the main square, where we get to listen to a political speech. It sounds like the actor was recording in a room with bad acoustics. Yuri clearly sympathizes with the rebels, but at this stage he is still loyal to the Polish prince. The Novgorod content is a series of some of the most boring fetch quests.
Jesus, I had a really fucking bad cramp. Jesus Christ.
I've ever experienced in my life. Talk to a person, run some.
It's our national treasure. Hello from Czech Republic. Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance is fucking awesome, man. You should really be proud of that. I think, somebody mentioned that, but I think like also Mafia 1 was made by a Czech developer. I fucking love Mafia 1, man. Especially that fucking race. Holy shit, I hope somebody got actually executed for that race mission.
Where talk to another person. The terribleness of this game's writing is interesting. 9 times out of 10, the problem of bad RPG writing is the problem of bloat. A writer uses 40 words to tell a
Hello, catbutt.
20-word story. But what we have here is that the individual lines are succinct, but the characters take forever to get to the point, and after they do, they just don't stop talking. I imagine this was done to imitate the style of the book, and it didn't work. You can read text much faster than a voice actor can speak. According to an interview, the developers intentionally made the clothing more vibrant than it was historically, an artistic choice, so that the game is more visually interesting. Artistic choice, intentionally made the clothing...
like, this is kind of sad, because some of that looks really cool. If they made it like Kingdom Come Deliverance, where the game was kind of a slice of that time, of that conflict, of... Can you fuck off, man? Come on. Don't lie down. And yeah, it's kind of sad, because if it was made like as a time capsule of that, like of that period, it would have been fucking interesting. And I bet you like real ass solid ass money that a lot of people outside of Russia would be also interested in this game, just like I've been in Kingdom Come Deliverance, you know.
More vibrant than it was historically.
But yeah, from what he's hinting at, I think some of the funds for this game might have been fucking pocketed, which sounds about right.
An artistic choice, so that the game is more visually interesting. And here is a politically controversial quest. The rebel army employs foreign mercenaries as engineers and cannoneers, but some of these foreigners are disrespectful towards the locals, and frankly, they should be taught a lesson. But we don't want to seem inhospitable, so we need to provoke them into attacking us first. I've always wanted to ask, is that true that your women are not actually women, but men dressed in women's clothing? And then they say that when no one is looking, one of you bends over in front of the other, like a woman. You are dirt. I'll make you a woman. Perhaps I'm being unreasonably charitable, but I can't tell if the game is making fun of traditional values or promoting them. This Nobel Prize-winning publication seems to imply it's the latter. But then, in the very next mission, our protagonist is shown to be absolutely pussy-whipped by a very liberated-looking Polish woman. Help me read the themes on display. An interesting side note, my colleague, a fellow patriot and Voyencore, Big Flopa Z, recently published a peer-reviewed paper, and it seems, based on the accounts of foreign travelers, homosexuality was near ubiquitous among all social classes in Muscovy. The implications of this are staggering. The Anglo-Saxons have been homosexing Russians for centuries. In the next area, I was struck by a realization that all dialogue...
That's interesting. Didn't know that.
In this game is redundant. Smuta is extremely quest compass dominant. It doesn't actually matter what the characters say, you just follow the compass, get to a location, fight bad guys, or click on an object. After doing this...
the Skyrim experience, but a lot less fucking, you know, a lot less fun.
For about 2 hours, we get to meet Prince Pozharsky, a Russian national hero, one of the more famous ones. Pozharsky is in every history book. A little later, in the rebel war camp, Yuri has a conversation with Kuzma Minin, another important historical figure. Minin and Pozharsky are the Russian Chip and Dale of the Troubles. We can't customize our appearance in Smuta, but we can change our character class, which in this game is called Image. This can be done almost at any time in these field tents. Different classes wear different clothing and use different weapons. We have just unlocked the
Bro, what the fuck? This is literally like in Assassin's Creed. What the fuck is that? Liberation? Literally the same mechanic. Why does this game like keep on reminding me about Assassin's Creed? It's kind of funny.
Strelets Image. The Streltsy are Muscovite firearm infantry, armed with a rifle type of a weapon and a bardish. They also served as cops and firemen. Hanged Man's Tree. This game wants to be Witcher 3 so bad. That's what you'd say if you're an ignorant Russophober. A loading screen helpfully tells us that trees with hanging people were not uncommon, and in fact, they predate Christmas trees. Another feature stolen by the Polish CD Projekt Red was the Yuri Vision, which in their game is called Witcher Vision. It's not used often in this. The levels are huge, but since they are more or less free of interactive objects, there is little reason to explore them. But the game is capable of creating unintentional Oblivion-esque comedy. The woman is talking in generic barks, the convulsing man is complaining about the poles, and the cow is just mooing. So, how good is the stealth system? It's okay. This is the closest thing this game has to engaging gameplay. The enemies seem to respect the shadow, and there is a generous delay in their reactions. Boyar from Uyar. So there are boss fights. I have no idea what the point of this is supposed to be. He is stun-locked just as easily as everyone else. You have to click him like 6 extra times. That's the difference between a boss and a normal enemy.
Oh man. So if this is historical, does that mean the gun is going to be overpowered? Well, the gun was overpowered, but if you missed once, then you were basically fucking dead if the enemy didn't fire their shot yet.
Finally, after hours of fetch questing, Yuri returns to his home village to report to the Boyar Kruchina. Same location, different season. Obviously, Smuta is not a good product, but it is a good idea, you know. Yeah,
like I said, and I was again about to say, that location looked fucking cool. I love those, like, historic buildings, you know. They look so... Again, Kingdom Come Deliverance is, like, chock full of that. Those are just cool locations to look at.
Games can be great cultural ambassadors, and they have a proven history of positive cultural change. Here's a story for you. Back in the early 2000s, a buddy of mine from Magnitogorsk was working on an early indie CRPG project called Wasteland Wolf. But when they tried introducing their game to a foreign audience, on the Black Isle official forums no less, they very quickly encountered a problem. The problem's name was Adolf Hitler. Back then, the Anglophone online culture was dominated by Gen Xers and older millennials. For many of these individuals, Wasteland Wolf was a first contact situation. They have never seen a cultural product from this part of the world before. The idea of a Fallout-like RPG originating from the ex-USSR space was wild, unnatural. They didn't know how to process it, no frame of reference. This created conflict. Posting conflict, the worst kind. Well, I've been told that Russians defeated Hitler, have they not? Perhaps we should ask them for advice. Russian discourse used to be very different from Western, because it wasn't about the right versus the left.
Man, this is a fucking super interesting, like, story. about like mods coming out of Russia for the first time. Damn.
Instead, it was about the cops versus the dorks. The cop faction had all the power, but the dork faction had all the brains. You will never defeat our ideas, piggy. Unfortunately, the ideas in question were reverse tankyism and veteran privilege, which is a notion that society pays way too much attention to World War II vets. Needless to say, for our purposes, none of this was helpful or in any way material. The Hitler problem existed because of the lack of exposure, and exposure, through the medium of video games, is what ended up solving it. The Ukrainian Stalker was published in 2007.
Yes.
It was followed by Metro 2033, developed by a different Ukrainian studio, published in 2010. That game was based on a book by the Russian author Dmitry Gluchovsky.
This is a really interesting like piece of gaming history, because yeah, before Stalker there was no like foreign import from like Russia, Ukraine, you know, those like I don't want to count Poland there, because Poland was like on the very verge of the Iron Curtain. But yeah, this is very interesting to think about. Like, those games were unlike anything that came before them. That's why Stalker took off so fucking much, like in Western Europe and other places. Like, people looked at this and they were like, wow, I never played anything like this, you know.
I can only speak for myself and for the communities I was active in, but for me, there was a world before Stalker and the world after. This is how we stopped being foreign, and how Adolf Hitler was banished back to Avernus. In the next chapter, we'll travel to the town of Yaroslavl and deal with the internal conflicts in the rebel army, and by deal, I mean instigate. Ivan Zarutsky is another important historical figure, a leader of the Don Cossacks. Previously, he served false Dmitry II, the impostor on the throne. Pozharsky wants to convince him to join us, but it doesn't look like it's working out. Let's try out a new class. This is the Courtier image. This version of Yuri wields expensive-looking weapons that have very short range. Later I learned that the Courtier class is supposed to be a reward for finishing the story, but in my Uyar Patriot edition it was pre-unlocked. The biggest problem in Yaroslavl are our Tatar allies, who are a little too powerful and independent. Yuri helps the Tatars in one mission and then stabs them in the back in the next. Vampire Bloodlines fans might be pleased to know that Smuta also has that bug where clothing gets stuck in your character's ass. This really made me feel at home. The main quest wants us to work with Zarutsky in order to undermine the rebels. The protagonist is incapable of...
This is reminding me of how the user moddable versions of Fallout 2 are all from Russia. Stalker was a huge hit too. I've never seen any other FPS game that had me on on edge when it was night. Yeah, Stalker was crazy. I remember when it came out, it was a big hit in Poland, actually. Like, all of the fucking kids in my school were talking about, of course, you know, it's I think Stalker is like 16 or 18 plus, right? Anyway, it's a mature game, but kids in my school, obviously we didn't give a fuck about that. Everybody was playing like those GTAs, you know, fucking prostitutes and then killing them to get your money back. Like, just normal school things. And like Stalker was talked about in like same magnitude as like the first Assassin's Creed games. Like, it really took off. It really took off in Poland.
say no. Suck my dick, Pozharsky, Vladislav Liberator. As a reward, Zarutsky unlocks the mercenary image, a Western European warrior type, armed with a musket and a halberd. Yuri says a few words in German to make this feel authentic. Halberd has extra range over a bardish. After taking out a small army of Russians, Yuri suddenly decides he hates murdering people for Zarutsky and threatens to kill the Atom.
He looks cool in that outfit. Kind of like a... Kind of looks like a Spanish type of attire.
The next time they meet. I have no idea what Yuri
Looks really fucking cool.
truly believes in. This man is a psychopath. If you are trying to be a secret agent, you should probably dress to fit in with the locals. You know what? I should take my own advice. Irena, if this is her real name, it isn't, sends us on a sneaking mission to a war camp we've already cleared for Zarutsky.
Или ты с девицами?
Are you always this quick with women? After insulting our manhood, she makes us visit the same camp for the third time. This game is mocking me. The traveling theme is quite good in this. Marina Mniszek was a Polish noblewoman and, until recently, the Queen of Russia, having married False Dmitry I, and then when he was killed, she remarried False Dmitry II. Her ambition is to convert Russia to Catholicism. Previously, the game showed us the Muscovite nationalist point of view, and now we are being introduced to the Catholic opposition. Smuta defenders claim that the game's critics exaggerate its supposed mechanical simplicity. Upon further examination, there are actually all kinds of advanced mechanics, like you can throw rocks to distract bad guys. Russophobers.
Man, it's really fucking it's really unfortunate because you have this interesting conflict of
simplicity. Opponents claim that
you have this interesting conflict of like obviously the age-old mission to Christianize Russia and like other parts of East Europe, right?
Point of view, and now we are being introduced.
You have this interesting like periodical story, this periodic piece about Russia during like those important years in their history, and then the fucking gameplay.
Upon further
the fucking gameplay looks like this.
Examination, there are actually
God.
all kinds of advanced mechanics, like you can throw rocks to distract bad guys. Russophobers caught lying again.
I never seen it get that bad when it comes to stealth like bullshit.
Alas, a tragedy strikes. Yuri's closest friend was killed during an assassination attempt on Pozharsky. We can't keep working for both factions. Pozharsky himself comes to our tent. He knows everything, but Yuri is clearly too stupid to be held accountable for his actions. The rebel leaders send us on a quest to find a local holy man to get him to bless the war effort. I think they just want to get rid of us. The elder lives in the depths of an ancient forest where no man has gone before. That's what the loading screen says. Clearly not true, since there are poles here.
We just live in ancient woods actually. Like he's just clearly like invading on our private property because all ancient woods in Eastern Europe are property of the Polish people.
They say they're on their...
That's where we train our bears that serve as munition men in our armies.
way to rendezvous with the army of King Sigismund near Smolensk, but that was 3 years ago. Thinking about retiring from politics and war and just buying property here in the forest. We'll be needing a lot of vitamin D supplements though. Oh my god, Smuta is getting good.
Неужто самого себя не признал?
This is the alternative future Yuri, who speaks with a slight accent and is Catholic. The two Yuris debate politics, and the Demon Knight actually makes some material arguments. He says that all Muscovites, even the boyars, are ultimately slaves to the Tsar. In comparison, the Polish Szlachta have a lot more rights. There is a fun...
Listen. The Polish Szlachta have a lot more rights. They had, historically, too many rights. Because they had the magical fucking veto power, which if one Szlachcic, which is like just a fucking generic term for upper, essentially the bourgeoisie, if one of them didn't like a change that was being voted on, he could veto it. One veto could cancel fucking anything, like any change in policies going through. And even the king, they had more power than the king. Imagine how fucking stupid that system is. You need to... only one. You need to pay off only one guy who is an important member of the Szlachta to veto anything that is not in your interest. So, for example, a bunch of them were paid off either by Germans or Russians to advance their interest. So, like, Poland got stunlocked so fucking hard in bad decisions that we will completely taken off the map for like 100 years. Because, like, that system of politics is the worst thing ever. Jesus Christ. Now the Netflix released a really cool... a really cool Polish production called 1607, I think, and it's like a social comedy about exactly that, where the protagonist is a really fucking dumb asshole local Szlachcic, and he goes to the what is called Sejmiki, which is where the like couple times a year they had this like big gathering where all important like decisions take place for the entire region where all the people live. And this dumb motherfucker, they want to raise taxes from 1% to 2% because this was a time where Poland was sacked really badly. So the Szlachta wanted to introduce a 1% tax increase to gather more money for the whole country. And he, like, everybody anonymously agreed that this is a good idea, and this one dude wanted to be in the right, so he vetoed that change. And this is like a perfect example of what was happening during those times. So yeah, I don't think like a couple of well-off people who always, of course, get their riches from their parents, not via earning them, have so much fucking power that they can overturn even the king's decision. So yeah. So this is not them having, in this case, them having more freedom is not a good thing at all.
He says that all Muscovites, even the boyars, are ultimately slaves to the Tsar. In comparison, the Polish Szlachta have a lot more rights. There is a fun third dimension to this conversation. We are from the future for real. We know what will happen to the ideas of Minin and Pozharsky in 400 years. Indeed, they have evolved into something else. Those of you who are online, that is most of you, might be familiar with an Afrocentrist ideology called Hotepism. It's about seeing ancient Egypt as a source of black pride. What you didn't know is that the Muscovites have been cooking their own versions of Hotepism for decades now. The most popular of them is the Hotep of Communism, which is about Russians rewriting history to attribute all Soviet accomplishments to themselves. We Russians defeated Hitler, which is true, but, you know, the Ukrainian and Belarusian per capita contributions were even higher. We Russians are the pioneers of space exploration. Also true, even though the lead Soviet spacecraft engineer was from Zhytomyr. You get the idea. Among millennials and Gen X...
I gotta be honest, I feel embarrassed to say this, but yeah, I actually also attributed those things to Russia, because when you think about Soviet Union, you think about Russia. You don't think that, okay, Poland was part of the Soviet Union, obviously, but we were not. Like, Poland was basically like a fucking puppet state. We didn't matter for shit. But yeah, like Ukraine, other like countries neighboring Russia, they had significant contributions to what was developed in the Soviet Union. So like Russia now like taking those things as their own advancement, it's fucking crazy. And yeah, that's why it's important to say Soviet Union when you are talking about World War II. That is exactly right, and it's important to remember that was not only Russians. That there were a lot of countries that took part in the Soviet Union. It's the same way when people say USA, they really mean Texas. Yes, the United States is comprised of 50-something states, I believe. I'm not really an expert on that, so sorry if I got that wrong. But those are a lot of states that were essentially small countries before they signed, you know, before they merged into the United States. And a lot of people's minds like slip that idea. Also, when they think about USA, also Florida comes to mind to a lot of people, and they think all of USA is just like Florida or like Texas, you know.
There is another popular Hotep, the Hotep of Crackers. Imagine that you were born during the last years of the Iron Curtain. The Soviet lifestyle is discredited. Young people are eager to return to the European family. The problem is that very few of them have actually met a Westerner before, so their idea of Europeans was based on what they read in Soviet textbooks and what they absorbed through pop culture. Russians who subscribe to this ideology see world politics as Vampire the Masquerade IRL. The world is ruled by ancient European families, with the English royal family being the most powerful of them. The funny thing about this brand of Hotepism is that these individuals sometimes take liberal or progressive positions, but not because they believe in egalitarianism, but rather because they see it as a way of communicating their Europeanness. And of course, there are Muscovite conservative philosophers, such as Yegor fucked his daughter, showcasing the national costume. Now, what is Yegor famous for? Actually, it's kind of hard to tell. He believes that in the ancient past, people lived for 900 years.
Man, that fucking diet of only wheat and starving really made people of the past build different, huh?
His philosophical system can be described as a bootleg version of Plato's theory of forms. The idea of Russianness was sent to us by God, and questioning this is a Westoid behavior and possibly Russophobia as well. We must construct additional Russia todays. Fucked his daughter labored on these ideas for 3 decades. He is working with a production crew allegedly paid for by the very same Internet Development Institute, and somehow, despite all that, his YouTube views are in the hundreds, sometimes low thousands. You thought Smuta was a waste of taxpayers' money. Yuri, you could have prevented this. We have...
Man, this is a wild... Like I said, this is why I picked this video exactly, right? This is a wild peek behind the curtain that, like, I don't peel back that curtain often, you know. Like I said, Russia and its internal politics and like important figures are very foreign to me. I just, you know, but this is super interesting. Yeah, now back to realism. Shooting the fucking ghost of yourself as a Polish szlachta. Don't sleep while picking down the rabbit hole. Oh, yeah, that is also very important.
Failed. We will find another way. Releasing control. Enjoy being a holop to stinky old man forever. The rebel army.
Sorry, I gotta adjust myself a little.
Is about to march on Moscow, but we have unfinished business elsewhere. Boyar Kruchina, our foster father, the schemer.
Гляжу, все никак мимо проходить не научишься.
Yuri is reunited with his friend, the Free Cossack Kirsha, the most Zaporizhian man to ever exist. Kirsha speaks with a very authentic Ukrainian accent. Our protagonist intends to solve the Kruchina problem by convincing the man to work with Pozharsky instead of the Poles. But the boyar makes convincing counter-arguments. The rebellion is a terrible idea. Things need to return to...
Yo, bro has that fucking Elden Ring talisman that gives you more health. What the fuck?
Normal as soon as possible. The peasants didn't stockpile enough food. There is a risk of famine. And who will stop the Swedes when they invade again? And how are they planning on electing the new Tsar anyway? The boyars will be at each other's throats. Yuri will have plenty of time to come up with answers to these questions. No, Anastasia, don't give him the key to the jail cell. You will regret this.
Только чего?
This scene made me like Kruchina a lot more. His plan to tear apart the rebel army involves forging correspondence, and it's very clever. Yuri flees to the forest and eventually finds Kirsha's hidden encampment. This is how we unlock the final image. A shish is a Troubles-era peasant freedom fighter. This class has the most exotic weapon selection.
The fucking... Oh man, classic, like classic among rebelling lower class.
We get a hand axe instead of a sword and a throwing axe instead of a pistol. The latter seems to have a shorter cooldown. The axes have extra brutal fatality animations. He's dead, Yuri. The horse is summoned by pressing a key, and it's very useful for navigating the huge empty maps. There is no mounted combat. If you're engaged, it just drops Yuri on the ground and runs away. The big idea for this
more like disappears. Holy.
chapter is building up Kirsha's Shish militia force so that we can eventually strike at Boyar Kruchina's little Kremlin. Some Polish publications wrote about the game, voicing concerns about anti-Polonism. Having played this to completion, I don't think there is anything to worry about. The Polish NPCs are very articulate, they are not portrayed as stupid, they are not caricatures, and for what it's worth, their costumes are some of the best looking in the game.
Oh yeah, the drip was impeccable in those times. That's the one thing I can say for certain.
And there is a fun scene where Yuri educates Kirsha, dispelling his ignorant beliefs.
I mean, the Russians also, like, that era in general was just full of drip, man. The Russians also have some, like, really cool historic threads.
No, you silly, the Poles don't actually have dog heads. In fact, for a state-funded project, this story is interestingly open-minded. There have been 1, 2, 3 instances when the game debated the Muscovite ideas, and Yuri didn't seem to have much to say in their defense. That's strangely progressive. Suspiciously so. After the assassination of Oleg Bilibin at the Govnomas Sergeya Vertushkina, the ownership of the Uyar-based studio was transferred to Alexei Koptsev. Who is Mr. Koptsev? Nobody knows. His not Facebook page has posts of liberal, anti-Putin, and Nazi-adjacent nature. What? The final event of the chapter is the Shish attack on the Kruchina's compound.
I am getting lost in the lore of who was assassinated for what and by who.
The attack happens entirely within a cutscene. The gameplay bit is another sneaking mission that doesn't even seem to feature any enemies. Alas, the princess is in another castle. The cutscenes in the game are honestly well directed and strangely artistic. I think Yuri was supposed to say a badass one-liner, but the audio bugged out. The dramatic final battle has us facing 3 sequential groups of basic enemies. Very creative, Mr. Koptsev. Onwards to the penultimate chapter, the Moscow outskirts, the gathering of rebel armies. Kirsha finally gets to meet Pozharsky, and he is absolutely in love with the man. Kirsha is such a Runat and a Maloros. In the previous 2 chapters, the game came dangerously close to being fun, so now we are back to endless boring fetch questing. Someone is trying to destroy the rebel army from the inside. This Santa Claus-looking motherfucker
I was about to say, what the fuck is Santa Claus doing there?
is our primary suspect. Yuri's job is to find proofs of his misdeeds, and naturally we do this by beating people up. People like the Alpha Cossack here. I don't get this combat system. Maybe it's because the courtier is an overpowered class, but as you can see, the Cossack never even exited the staggered state. This location is called Gulai Gorod, which is an East Slavic term for a mobile fortification made up of carts and boards. These were used with great success against steppe nomads. After enduring 2 hours of some of the most mind-numbingly boring gameplay
Oh my fucking god, this horse riding is
invented by
nightmarish.
human civilization, we discover that Santa is innocent. The real spy is hanged.
Дело, которому служишь.
If you betray your country, your cause, your friends, what's
I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. So be right back, guys. I thought about it for a second, and it's strangely like very emblematic of Russia as a country and its government. This game, I mean, like we were all sitting here like listening about this game, and we were going like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. This is something I would be interested in, right? Like, it's crazy to think how much Russia as a country and its government could accomplish if they stopped fucking around with trying to force propaganda, stopped fucking around with like this paranoid assassinating, basically, like getting rid of any competition, not necessarily assassinating, because a couple of anti-Putin government like officials were put into jail, not pushed out the window, so he doesn't always kill his critics, I guess. But like, if they stopped focusing on that and instead focused on like actual developments, like I said, this game is just a small example of that. If they focused on making this game good instead of like trying to send a message or appropriating the funds behind the scenes supposedly, this could have been like a fucking hit. This could have like probably swayed some opinions about like that country and introduced its history to people outside of Russia, you know. It's crazy when they focus. This is also true on that note that they make games like this and Planet Alcatraz. They make games only for people of Russia instead of trying to like you know, make them also purchasable or approachable via including other languages to other countries. And it's like they waste so much fucking effort on something that could have worked for the benefit of them. It's a doozy when you think about it.
What's the point of begging for mercy? Yeah, that's what we do with fascist Russophobes. Speaking of, this is a report.
I have to agree, there is a lot of fascinating history I am not aware of, but the system in charge really ruins it. Yeah.
Report published by the MandaloreGaming project, a Russian automated media monitoring system. A week from the release of the game, the project monitored 240,000 social network posts about Smuta. 14,000 of them were positive. 87,000 were...
Oh my fucking god, what a ratio.
Negative, and the rest neutral. Negative posts included words like fiasco, failure, trash, garbage, cringe.
See, this is an example of like a thing Russia does, right? That is kinda like I mentioned. They invent those fucking institutions and systems to monitor like bad language for their intellectual properties, and obviously to see if people are saying bad words about the fucking government. Probably you wouldn't need those systems if people weren't as critical of you, if you did your fucking job better. You know what, I might actually might consider taking a step back from this, because like Russia doesn't only silence critics inside its borders, like as many famous cases actually showcase.
Undercooked, boring, drawn out, inexpressive. The Medialogia analysts concluded that
I wonder if actually somebody was in some way punished for stating their opinion about this piece of shit game.
the comments must have been written using a template. Thus, we can confidently say that the project is being subjected to a large-scale attack. Attack by whom? The 72nd Center of Information and Psychological Operations of the Ukrainian Navy is determined to be responsible.
Yup, that's it. That's it. Or the CIA. Or the CIA.
For flooding social media with mean comments, mobilizing military assets for RPG criticism. Truly, RPGs are the highest form of art. But it is concerning. First Bilibin, now this. Indeed, dark clouds are gathering over the motherland. The Poles on the other side of the river have cannons. Well, how do we solve this problem? By following the quest compass and clicking on objects. The Poles are drafting peasants to work on their fortifications. Yuri automatically changes his image to a shish so that he can blend in with the locals. That's how we get inside the cannon base and set their gunpowder on fire. Go! No, we still have an hour of fetch questing ahead of us.
I wonder how long this game actually is. This is just a variation of the problem we see with police in the US. They're spreading money to work on a problem when the money could have been spent on something else to prevent that from becoming a problem in the first place. Yeah, that's also true. Like many I think that's UK government. I watched a really interesting breakdown of what is happening in UK right now. UK also has a bunch of governmental problems that boil down to if you spent money on preventing it, you could have like solved it and you wouldn't need the fucking damage control that is costing you a lot of money, you know. Hello, Stars.
The chapter villain is our old frenemy Ivan Zarutsky, the ataman of the Dawn host. You have betrayed the motherland, Yuri interrogates a Cossack traitor. And this guy is like, sir, I'm from Poland. If Ivan were to become Tsar, he would make everyone free, he says. Zarutsky is drunk, and frankly, it doesn't look like he's in charge of anything. Oh, damn it! Imagine if Kojima made a game like this. Both of you are fools, as is the rest of the boyar trash. Marina believes that a woman should be in charge of Russia because women are better at handling court intrigue. I don't think this is evidence-based. She is not scheming on behalf of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. She is in this for herself and God. What's funny is that you
know that's actually a pretty neat twist, but I'm pretty sure the execution was fucking bad anyway, because execution of almost everything in this game seems very bad.
Yuri still doesn't know her real name. Irena, or whoever you are, freedom is your punishment.
What?
You will regret not killing me, Boyar Miroslavsky. Marina will regret it a lot more, in fact. It's a very dark story. Welcome to the endgame. The rebel army surrounded the Poles in Moscow. An urban level finally. The White Stone Fortress is not the same Kremlin that exists today. This is its previous incarnation. The besieged Poles are trying to break through, but our biggest enemy is the frame rate. Despite there being a war and a siege and, bodies hanging from lampposts, parts of the city still manage to function normally. This Cossack is a Charakternik, which is a type of a Cossack sorcerer, healer, and teacher. In some ways, a Zaporizhian version of Asian martial arts master. Charakterniks can catch bullets with their hands and throw them back at their enemies. They place sorcerer's enchantments on their guns. They walk on water and fire, turn invisible. They can see the future and control the weather. In the game, this is possibly the only opponent who dual wields weapons.
Ну, чертяки языкастые.
Our protagonist teams up with insane clown posse to rob a rich man's house.
Finally, a good portion of the story.
How does this help us defeat the Poles? What? The Poles? Yuri, you moron! You were supposed to destroy the Russians, not join them. But from my point of view, it's the Catholics who are evil. A strong opening from Kruchina with a kick in the balls. He can summon Holop allies, that's new. But ultimately the combat system is incapable of challenging the player. Kruchina is stun-locked and defeated just as easily as the very first opponent in the game.
Jesus Christ.
The nuclear apocalypse color filter is nature's way of telling us that the final battle is about to begin. It involves Yuri navigating open-air corridors and fighting groups of 4 enemies. But somehow the Poles are winning. And when all hope is lost, Kirsha the Cossack arrives with reinforcements. A brotherly people's moment. Go! This was Smuta, or Troubles, a state-funded video game. 20 hours of filler, 20 minutes of fun cutscenes. Is this political propaganda? Virtually everyone in the story has better politics than Yuri and his rebel friends. Zarutsky the Cossack promised to make everyone free. Kruchina wanted to keep people from starving. The Demon Knight didn't want to be a slave. The only truly smart character is a Polish noblewoman. Well, no, maybe not the only one. When we meet her in Moscow, Anastasia says that she will mastermind her own escape, and that we should take it easy, because the purpose of a boyar's head is to wear a hat. Is this traditional values? Is this game a tool of government influence? Of the Polish government, maybe? Is it a corruption scheme? A scheme to redistribute government money to a bunch of graphic artists and voice actors, perhaps?
Yep.
Is Smuta subversive? Is it secretly clever? No.
Man, that's why also... This sucks to say, right? I really... I really hate that I'm about to say this, okay? But this is another proof on the pile of state-funded projects fucking suck. This, stated by the Russia's whatever ministry, is right there next to Uwe Boll's video game adaptation movies. And if you don't know the backstory of it, the German government had a program in place where they would fund German directors to direct movies. And Uwe Boll abused that fucking system so much by releasing his shitty movies that I think they discontinued that program at some point. Like, it seems like this idea of state-funded media will attract vultures who want to take money away from the fucking government and not make anything really interesting in return. Obviously, for those examples, there are others. When it comes to state-funded projects, like with the people, right, that were successful, but when it comes specifically to media like movies and video games, there are way more tales of vultures just swiping down to nab some nice cash. Incredible, they made a game so annoying the censors would never play far enough to find the parts they might object to. True.
And then we have ending slides, just like in Fallout. Yuri's relationship with Nastya eventually broke down. I probably picked the wrong dialogue option at some point. In any case, I consider this to be a good outcome. Having won the power struggle, the philosophers of the cop faction kept inventing new types of right-wing idpol, but nothing they came up with was even remotely as successful as the hotep of communism. With its invention, the system of Muscovite idealism was complete. Nothing else needed to be done. Dmitry Gluchovsky, the author of Metro books, betrayed his dork brethren by making things people actually liked. For his crime,
True. Man, Metro is fucking awesome. I love those books. State-funded media tends to be bad from my experience. I think there were some anti-war films, one from the SU that were good, but it doesn't seem to be the norm. Oh yeah, some war movies, like some American war movies are fucking like government propaganda, but some of them are actually kinda nice. Not American Sniper. American Sniper fucking sucks dick. I hate that movie so much.
he was cancelled, exiled from Discord, and blocked on Xitter. And then there was the mysterious stranger, hiding behind a mask. Nobody knew his true identity. Just like everyone else, having never played Smuta, the masked patriot mistakenly believed that the game was political propaganda. But instead of opposing it, he wrote in its support. In this article, he reveals a connection between the Russian developer Oddmeter and the Polish 11-bit studio, who conspired to launch a media attack on the game. This is 1612 all over again. Many questions remain unanswered. Who ordered the assassination of Bilibin? What truly happened at the Govnomass that fateful night? Who is Mr. Koptsev? Is there any truth to the rumors? Is he the long-lost great-great-great-great-great-grandson of the Polish Prince Vladislav? Our Patreon
The lore is running deep here.
supported think tank will keep monitoring the situation. Patron credits, and then we'll see if it's possible to salvage this. These videos are bankrolled by the Association of Voyenkors of the Uyarian Spring, including Jim Lawrence, Arkelis, a two-room apartment in Bobruisk, Belarus, Snafu, Ganners, Pumpkin, Mopord Must Buck Swope. You didn't hire an RPG theorist. Every serious corporation employs at least one. Apple, Boeing, McDonald's, it's just basic stuff. Frankly, not employing a monocled RPG theorist is an extremely unwashed Moscow behavior, Mr. Gorislavsky. And sure, our services do not come cheap, but a petrostate can probably afford it, and you'll be saving money in the long term. I don't even need to see a prototype to tell you that this dialogue style will not work for a fully voiced RPG. A theorist could have told you that this should have been a top-down game. The budget of Witcher 3 was $81 million. The budget of Pillars of Eternity was $4.4 million. And that thing was made in California. Top-down is cheap and...
Damn, $4.4 million in California? Isn't that like... That's not even enough to buy yourself, you know, the magical rocks that you smoke to get you through the week, man. What the fuck?
If done right, it's just as pretty. Of course, these sorts of games seem to have much smaller audiences, and presumably we are making a game for the people, not just for enthusiasts. So this is why Smuta should have been a top-down Diablo-style clicker. For our purposes, it's a perfect genre, accessible, engaging, popular. Historical theming.
Yeah, that's one way to make it work on that budget. That's a good idea. Damn, someone should have fucking hired that guy to, or any guy, to think if this Smuta game is a good idea.
It's an excellent fit for this type of a game. You are not just clicking on monsters to make the number go up. You are clicking on monsters to make the number go up, and you are learning about history. But that's an idea for Smuta 2 Electric Boogaloo. What they should do with this game is A. Make all the assets free to use for anyone under a very flexible license. I know some Neverwinter modders who would love some of this stuff. And B. There is no B. Forget about this game. Give me money on Patreon. See you in a few weeks.
Курва! Ну что?
Yeah, that's a great way to sum everything up that just happened. I will give them credit for ambition. Yeah, the game did look like ambitious. If only it was, you know, finished. If only it had like features and things to do. Then who knows? Who knows what could have happened with this? But so far, yeah, I don't think that I don't think this game is getting out of Russia and into the hands of other like people from other countries, and I don't think it's gonna. I don't think they would even want it, even if this was available at this like how it functions right now. So yeah, another great video by Warlockracy. Like I said before, kind of a nice peek behind the curtain into a country I don't know that much about, as in like what is like in detail happening within the government and its relationship with the people. Very, very interesting, cool stuff. Definitely not a game I would be interested in checking out, other than like just the sake of you know, curiosity, novelty, just being able to take a peek at a game that is not meant for my eyes, because obviously this game was only made for the people of Russia. But yeah, great video. Definitely glad I checked it out, and yeah, we'll be moving on. And we will be moving on to we will be moving on to a really long awaited thing on the channel. This was recommended to me as soon as I got like into any Warhammer 40k videos. The Russians didn't like the game either. Who would have thought? Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, the people of Russia are people just like us, right? They're not gonna like a shitty game. So, like I said, they should have like, if only like they had a better system of distributing like money from the government to creators of that, and somebody on board who knew anything about video games, that could have been like really interesting, but sadly it was not. So yeah, I'm gonna be checking out Warhammer 40k text-to-speech series, namely what if Emperor had a text-to-speech device. A very popular series among fans of Warhammer 40k. And when I was checking out the playlist of all the episodes of that, this also is included there, an intro to the Dark Millennium, and it's only 3 minutes, so I'm gonna watch this. And then I'm gonna watch 5 episodes back to back of What If Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. And I am very excited. I am very excited to actually like get into this series, because it's been like sorta hyped to me for a long time. And yeah, I'm not that familiar with Warhammer 40k. I know some basic stuff about, obviously, the Empire of Man, the various xenofactions, how the warp works, like all of the chaos gods and stuff like that, and basic overview of all the factions within the Empire of Man, because there are fucking a lot, right? So hopefully this is gonna be enough for me to get into this, and also this is gonna probably like broaden my horizons a little bit. So yeah, we'll watch the first 5 episodes. It shouldn't be that long. It will be like a half an hour or so, I think. With me talking, it obviously gonna be a little bit longer. And yeah, let's get in there. Don't forget the best faction, the Tau. Yeah, obviously the Tau. The Tau is considered like Xeno faction, right? I think they kinda recruit anybody who wants to join, but they are Xenos, right? And yeah, let's get in there. Oh, the only faction I don't know about are, I think there's like a new one, like dwarves. But I don't think that was even part of the tabletop when those early text-to-speech episodes were made, so that's not gonna probably matter.
It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor of Mankind has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the vast imperium of man, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, so that he may never truly die. Yet even in his deathless state, the Emperor continues his eternal vigilance. Mighty battle fleets cross the demon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between distant stars, their way lit by the Astronomicon, the psychic manifestation of the Emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. Greatest among his soldiers are the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, bioengineered super warriors. Their comrades in arms are Legion, the Imperial Guard and countless planetary defense forces, the ever-vigilant Inquisition and the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to name only a few.
Based techno boys.
But for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat to humanity from aliens, heretics, mutants, and far, far worse. To be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only An eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods.
So yeah, that's a very fucking cool, like, intro. A little bit of a reminder of what's happening in the setting. Is it just a voiceover of the intro from the book? I have no idea, honestly. I can check in a second. But this was put together by Garrett, Warhammer 40k, an intro to the Dark Millennium. Really, really cool stuff. Again, I wanted just to see this because it was included on the text-to-speech like playlist at the very top. So supposedly the creators of that series recommend at least seeing this for a little bit of a, you know, reminder, like info injection, you know. Let me see. So this is a fan-made animated intro made by yours truly, so Garrett. Voiceover. Okay, so this is the voiceover was made by some guy from Fiverr, but there is no mention if this is taken. This is like an excerpt from a book, or if the author like made it himself. So yeah, cool. So yeah, and now we are getting into If the Emperor Had Text-to-Speech Device, Episode 1, Adorable Centurion. I have no idea what to expect. Literally zero idea. I know that some people said this is very common with fun creations like this. Let me turn down the brightness. Yeah, this will look a little bit better. This is quite common in all fun projects. Usually first episodes have a lot less budget, so I will keep that in mind naturally. I know like things that I love, for example, Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Like first episodes of that are really rough, and then it becomes like the best fucking thing I have ever seen. So yeah, let's get into it.
I really do hope this works. Is everything prepared?
The text-to-speech device has been implemented, Custodian. It appears to be functioning properly, unlike your feeble flesh.
Most excellent! Our glorious Emperor will be capable of conversing with his loyal subjects.
Man, I love the animation right away.
Once more, and I shall be the first to speak with him.
Like floppy puppets.
I could just take off my arm. No, calm down. I restrained myself for millennia. I will not let this legendary moment be ruined.
Why on touch that you promised us?
Quiet, you. Well, my divine lord, we have managed to implement a text-to-speech device to your glorious golden throne. Please, Lord, speak to us.
About fucking time.
At last! Our glorious lord can command us once again!
I have so many things to complain about. First of all, why do I only have a fucking glass eye on one of my eyes? Is that really necessary? And what is with these ultra smirks that I keep hearing about?
Wait, are you referring to the Ultramarines? Oh my lord, they are some of your greatest warriors.
Well, that certainly fucking explains it. It seems like their baby blue heraldry have earned them a most righteous nickname. For that matter, I always thought they looked terrible. Do they still have that fucking toilet seat as their insignia?
Yes, they do, my lord. They keep it to honor their Primarch, Rogue Gunner.
Oh, well, alright then. I always thought he was the greatest of my 20 Primarch sons.
Well, that's excellent, my
The
lord.
greatest little derivative pile of blueberry pudding pop fuckery that has ever glazed the surface of this shitty little galaxy.
Oh.
Is he still alive?
Barely. He was almost killed. He's currently in status back in the Ultramarines' home world of a crowd.
Cut his life supports and tell that stupid fucking Smurf village to fuck right off. Their constant uninterrupted chatting is drilling into my skull as if they were the immensely sanctimonious love child of tinnitus and a jackhammer. The pain of a million ripped out nose hairs are but a tender massage compared to this inexpressible ultra torture.
Well, I'll see what I can do. But at least we still have our mighty Grey Knights.
I never created anything called Grey Knights.
But, Lord, they are the greatest of purging demons in the Imperium. They're all psychers, and they come up with the most glorious ways of killing the enemies of man.
Why, at the few you.
Bring in the Dread Knights!
Oh, greetings, my glorious Emperor. It is an honor.
Oh myself. What the fucking fuck is that stupid ass thing?
It is the mighty Dread Knights!
That is the worst thing that I have ever fucking seen ever. If I still had eyes, I would require someone to deposit promethium-infused floor cleaner into them. What terrible person designed this?
The arcane technology of this marvelous machine was discovered by the Grey Knights and is held secretly from all inferior Astartes chapters.
We are
the exterior design, I believe, to be personally designed by the Grand Master of the Grey Knights himself, Caldor Dragon. He is the mightiest of the Grey Knights. He is currently stuck in the warp, killing demons daily, pillaging demonic villages, and vandalizing the Chaos God's property like some kind of glorious rascal. He has even written a name on the demon Primarch's heart.
For the love of all stop signs in the galaxy, cease and fucking desist. What in the fuck? That is actually very cute. Look at its little legs and oversized body. Adorable. Come to Papa you.
What? Wait, no, Tom!
Yes. This is funny to me.
Well, my lord, I do not know about you, but I feel this is the start of something absolutely glorious.
Shut your face, you fucking banana.
Yes, my lord.
I mean, to be fair to the Emperor, you know, some of those designs are indeed hilarious.
We are the soldiers, the Legion of Light. We are the center, the death of the sun.
So yeah, great little first episode intro to this thing.
So let me get this straight.
I don't know if episode 1 was made later or not. Let me check actually. Yeah, the first episode was actually made after some of the later ones, I guess. So yeah, episode 2, religiosity?
So let me get this straight. It has been 10,000 years since my angsty asshole of a son Horos made me a paraplegic and put on this throne.
That is correct, my lord.
How the fuck did you all survive for 10,000 years without me around?
Well, my lord, the Imperium has safely preserved your teachings and followed it for all these years, always submitting to your superior will.
That's a relief. For a second I thought you guys would have turned into some giant megalomaniacal group of religious people running around killing each other in the name of some fictional deity, or something like that.
Yeah, about that. I will move myself a little bit to... And this might be a little bit disorienting, but...
Oh no, of course not, my lord. We would never stoop so low. The only one we would ever worship is the one true god of all is you, of course. Everything else is heresy.
Are you fucking serious?
Just to so the subtitles can fit down there.
What is upsetting you, almighty god emperor of mankind?
I knew this would fucking happen.
Oh my lord, you don't have to worry about anything. The Ecclesiarchy and the Imperial Inquisition both make sure that the people of the Imperium retain their faith in you and you alone by making sure that no one knows about the corrupting powers of chaos. And if they somehow figure it out, we'll just exterminate the planet and it's all safe again.
The Ecclesiarchy? The Inquisition? Are you serious? Damn IT really well sir. Okay. Remember the Age of Strife?
Aren't you referring to the Age of Apostasy, sir?
No. The Age of Strife. Let me tell you. It was when asshole Cygers first started appearing, and all of asshole mankind started fighting each other over asshole reasons. That is when I first emerged. I destroyed all asshole religions that existed on Terra. Do you want to know why?
Because you are the one true god, my lord.
Wrong. It is because religion is stupid, superstitious, brainwashing crap that makes you into an asshole. This is why I specifically said when designing the Imperial truth that equality, science, and galaxy conquests is the way to go, and religion needs to be thrown out a window.
But my lord, what about the Lectito Divinitatus? Telling us that you are our one true god.
That was written by my whiny bitch of a son Lurgar, who later decided to dress up in spice, scarlet red armor, worship some dark gods, and be really fucking edgy. Stupid, rebellious teenage phases.
Ah, well, I see, my lord.
Now, where is my Centurion? Yes, this is true happiness. So what is this age of apostasy that you mentioned?
Well... how do I put this delicately?
Let me... hold on a second. Man, sitting down in this chair for prolonged periods of time is not that comfortable in the slightest. But, well, what can you do? Oh. Camera moved a bit. There we go. So yeah. Episode 3, the Age of Apostasy. Yeah, already like we are getting into things I kinda knew about from all the lore I've seen so far and like bricky videos and such, but also some nuggets like of new information about specific characters especially. Yeah, this is a really cool way to ingest like the lore of Warhammer. I definitely can see why this is so popular.
Really?
Yes, my lord.
This happened?
On behalf of all mankind, I'm really sorry, my lord. I truly am really sorry.
You let one of those nutty cults gain a hold of mankind and grow to become a state religion of the Imperium, becoming this fucking ecclesiarchy thing. And then people start to cut their own fucking spleen out, waving it around and throwing it at people, all in a pool of their own jizz and blood, to profess their love for me.
I'm really sorry.
And then you let some power-hungry motherfucking bureaucrat become the master of both the administratum and that overly dominant ecclesiarchy grok shit, effectively controlling all our hot, leathery assassins from the Officio Assassino and all asshole psychers in the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. Oh, and our flashlight guys as well. And then, this balls to the walls paramount of imperial incompetence that has become your leader starts to kill and torture anyone and everyone he feels like because it makes his bureaucrat balls tingle with delight, initiating a massive, totally pointless purge of all mankind. And in addition, he did all this with the most evil fucking name I've ever heard. Goat Van Dyer. Seriously, how could you ever trust a guy with that name? G-O-G-E Van Dyer. That name is just screaming I'm gonna take your eye sockets and put my penis into them. I mean, fuck.
Look, my lord. The events of the Age of Apostasy is all a great shame upon the Imperium, but he was brought to justice in the end. Why, I was even there when it happened. Several Astartes chaptermasters and the Mechanicus Fabricator General came around and told us what Van Dyer had been up to all this time. And then we helped out by conveying the truth of the matter to the leader of Van Dyer's bodyguards, the Brides of the Emperor, by directing her straight to you. Why, I remember it all like it was yesterday.
Oh, the sacred God Emperor himself, upon the golden throne of Terra. He is so beautiful. I've never seen anything as graceful and bewitching in all my life.
I know, right? And we get to clean his entire body several times a week.
I'm so unfathomably jealous I could burn you all right now. But I won't, so don't worry. But still...
Right. Anyway, as you can see, Van Dyer's not the one you're supposed to be looking up to. He doesn't do anything but deceive to gain more power. He is a madman, and his reign of blood must be stopped. Hey, are you even listening?
Huh? I'm sorry, I spaced out. The Emperor has some quite divine abs.
Actually, those are just bones jutting out. But anyway, I know you have served Van Dyer for a long time, but his megalomaniacal ways must come to an end.
Oh. Okay. You have committed the ultimate heresy. Not only have you turned your back on the Emperor and stepped from his light, you have profaned his name and almost destroyed everything he has striven to build. You have perverted and twisted the path he has laid for mankind to tread. As your own decrees have stated, there can be no mercy for such a criminal. I renounce your lordship. You walk in the darkness and cannot be allowed to live. Your sentence has been long overdue, and now it is time for you to die.
I don't have time to die. I'm too busy.
Right. I think I remember that too. Some girl came in here and stared at me with depraved, flustered eyes. If I had the proper bodily components left, I would probably have gotten a fairly insecure boner.
That's the Adeptus Auritus for you.
You haven't made female space marines, have you?
Huh? Oh, no, that isn't even possible. Only lewd and deviant artists of pen and parchment ever come up with something like that. Even then, if we didn't catch one of them in the middle of the process, we end up throwing them into the fire.
Good. The Adeptus Astartes can only contain males. No girls allowed. They are yucky.
Whatever you say, my lord.
So, what's up with this Inquisition thing?
Oh boy.
It's a cool way this is structured in when like they're basically going through the history of the empire and like what happened in a kind of a chronological order, right? And like obviously also the importance of events so far. Like I assume at some point like this form at some point probably like this form changes of like how the videos are structured. Let me but yeah, so far so good. So let's get on with episode 4, the Inquisition.
Actually, I think I have to go now.
Stop. You're telling me about this Inquisition thing.
Oh,
called it. Wow, I think that's your regular everyday meal of 1,000 sacrificed souls being prepared. Better go and check on it.
What was that?
Nothing, my lord. Nothing at all. I'll just go now. What the?
You are not going anywhere until you tell me about the Inquisition.
How did you...
How do they feed him the fucking souls, by the way? Do they make like soup and drip it down his skeletal body?
do that?
Have you forgotten? I'm the fucking Emperor. I sit around and randomly shit out warp storms daily because I have nothing better to do. Now, tell me.
Why are there so many more stars?
I do like early text-to-speech. I feel like they started to lose the plot a bit later on, but I can recognize most people still like it a lot. They attach everyone in a machine that is... and how they feed him is they attach everyone into a machine that is linked to him. Damn.
I think I shat out at least 5 warp storms during that presentation. Really, what the fuck have you all become? Labor camps and sterilizations? Murder millions over bare superstition? Excommunication of actually loyal Astartes? Have thousands of Imperial planets and its valuable assets destroyed because some bypassed with barbed wire and accidentally summoned a demon or two. Be painfully hypocritical and use Xenos and demonic weaponry in aid in order to carry across my will? Use technomonkeys?
But, my lords, the Inquisition's...
Wait, what was that about technomonkeys? That's not a concept I'm familiar with.
...to save mankind on numerous occasions. Like during the High Fleet Leviathan crisis, where the Inquisitor known as Cryptmaster stepped forward. The Tyranids, which he had previously named them, had managed to outmaneuver the Imperium, but thanks to Cryptmaster, their threat was abolished. He had managed to have a Magos concoct a poison against the Tyranids, which they then managed to defeat them entirely with.
Am I gonna have to start writing a list over things I don't know what the fuck you are talking about because what in the balls are a Tyrannid?
Right. It's kinda nasty. But still, it was quite heroic of him.
And how much did this threat cost to abolish?
Well, let's just say he didn't have the luxury to count the cost. Anyway, there was also one time during the First War of Armageddon where the Grey Knights helped the Space Wolves fight off a demon Primarch. Please don't get oversensitive about the Primarch thing. I really don't need more of this.
Now you are bringing up those fucking Grey Knights again, with that stupid-ass baby carrier Dread Knight thing. My inexistent eyes are still sore from seeing that abomination.
Yes, but truly the Space Wolves received great aid from the Grey Knights in their battle.
And then what?
What do you mean?
What happened after the battle had ended?
Well... The Space Wolves kind of wanted to save the survivors of the war, but the Inquisition sort of wanted to put them into labor camps and sterilize them and have them die off, which the... Space Wolves didn't really like that much, so, Well, there was a Cold War, and the Grey Knights betrayed the Space Wolves, and some shit happened, but that isn't important. Because, well...
The typical shenanigans of the Imperium of Man. What's funny is literally everything the Emperor complains about is something he's also done. I'm assuming when he wasn't a fucking skeleton on the throne, so before the heresy. Technomonkeys are Jaquero. I forgot how to spell it exactly, but people don't tend to talk about them. I think we should talk about Technomonkeys more.
One time the Grey Knights stopped a bloodthirst using an ancient, very dangerous technology known as the Blood Tide from destroying a world, and it was truly glorious.
And then what?
Oh shit, they killed a massive amount of innocent sisters of battle and adorned their armor in their blood, but...
Just fucking stop. This organization, however it came to fucking be, is obviously pure, concentrated, whole-brain stupidity. And whoever came up with the idea to create it in the first place is obviously a fucking idiot. They walk around and do whatever they fucking feel like while laughing really snarky at the plebeian communities they see before them, all while having themselves and all their troops ornate in loads of fucking shiny shit and skulls to look so emperor worshipping when really they are just creeps in trench coats, and that is all they will ever be. Now, ready yourself, send this message to the scribes. I want it sent to every corner of the fucking galaxy. I, the Emperor of Mankind, hereby make my official decree that all organizations contained within the Holy Orders of the Emperor's Inquisition and the Adeptus Ministorum shall be disbanded and removed from existence. All who work for either organization shall return to their sector of birth and work there as a regular citizen once more. All who refuse shall be branded renegades until they have given up their futile strive to conquer the galaxy in the name of their dogmatic religion. Signed, the Emperor of Mankind.
Yes! I shall go ahead and do that immediately, my lord. I'll be back when I'm finished.
This is all fucking nuts. Seriously, how could an organization like this spring into Exista? Wait a moment, I remember something. Shitfuck. This can't be for real. Malcador.
Lord Inquisitor Fyodor Karas.
What is it? Do not waste my time. I'm very busy initiating exterminatus on this mining world, but not giving me the shiny shit we need. Seriously, we can't have our soldiers walking around without the blame.
A very important message has been sent to you directly from Holy Terror itself.
What is it about?
Here, read it.
What? This is heresy!
Classic. Everything I don't like is heresy. Man. And yeah, this is gonna be our last episode for today. Episode 5, Malcador the Hero.
My lord, the deed has been done. And it took a fuckload of time. At least 3,000 scribes died, and I somehow managed to get a headache in the process. But the message has been sent to all inquisitorial and ecclesiarchal organizations in the galaxy. My lord? Hello? Are you awake?
My lord, I have completed the mission you entrusted me. I have traveled the galaxy and found these 12 individuals of character, skill, and determination. Please, if you will oversee them, I will be ready to make my sacrifice.
You have done well, my friend.
In fairness to Fyodor, he isn't going to do Exterminatus for any reason like that, because it means he can't personally burn the heretics alive. Ah, yes. Such a well thought out and functioning organization.
I trusted you to find me the most inquisitive and trustworthy this galaxy has to offer, and you succeeded. I approve of your selection, Malcador.
Thank you, my lord. These individuals will lay the foundation for the eternal watchmen of the Imperium. They were rooting out heresy and keeping mankind away from the abyss that is chaos. Now that my final duty has come to an end, I shall make my final sacrifice for you, my Emperor.
Behold the greatest sacrifice of our age. Malkador the Sigilate is no more. Henceforth he shall always and only ever be Malkador the hero.
My lord, you're awake!
Of course I am, you fuckstudies. Can't you see when people are having dramatic flashbacks?
Oh, I'm really sorry, my lord. Anyway, the deed has been done. The message has been conveyed.
Good. How they dare shit upon a sacrifice that my most loyal servant ever made by turning the organization he laid the foundation for into an elitist shitfest is inexcusable.
Excuse me, my lord. I don't think I follow.
Malkador, the hero, previously known as Malkador the Sigilate. He was my bro for life, and the first High Lord of Terra. He was the one who ruled and spread the word of the Imperium in my stead while I was tinkering with his throne. If it weren't for that disappointment of a son Magnus the Bookworm, who just had to fall to the temptations of chaos, and sent a brain-shattering psychic phone call to me with his powers, the barriers that protected my greatest project, the webway of mankind, wouldn't have been ruined, and Malkador wouldn't have had to make his sacrifice.
Oh. So, everything is Magnus's fault?
Definitely. If I could, I'd brutally spank Magnus until his ass would turn so red that his face would look pale in comparison.
Ah, I see.
Come to think of it, is Magnus still alive?
Last time I heard he's a demon prince now, residing in the Eye of Terror on the planet of the sorcerers.
Sounds really fucking nerdy, just like him. Later, I want you to send those Ultramarines mercs there and try to get a hold of Magnus and then bring them here to me. If they fail, they'll at least not be so fucking snobby anymore, and if they succeed, I'll get to spank Magnus so it's all good.
Very well, my lord. I'll remember to tell someone that.
Now, I wonder how the disbanding of all those shitty cult organizations is going.
There is no doubt about it, fellow Inquisitors. Whoever sent this message is a heretic. There is a heretic on Terra, pretending to be the only God Emperor of mankind.
This must be the work of demons.
A cult. It must be a cult.
Yes, a gene stealer cult.
We cannot let this heretic keep doing what he is doing.
But we can't explain it. Only tell our way.
I don't think so. That would be kind of counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive? What the fuck does that mean?
We cannot perform exterminatis of Holy Terra yet. But what we can do is send an inquisitorial representative there as one of the High Lords of Terra, and then argue with the rest of the High Lords until they allow us to perform a thorough search and purge of our planet.
Oh, that sounds real good.
It will be like an annual exterminatus, with more door-kicking and burning buildings.
Maybe we can check if Terra is a tomb.
Who the fuck is this really cool guy looking? Who the fuck is this really cool looking guy in the background who hasn't said anything yet? And why does he look so cool?
Burning buildings.
Maybe we can check if Terra is a
am I in the fucking way actually of his portrait? Wait a second. Yeah, I totally am. I'm talking about this this fella right here with the cool hat and cool half robotic body.
With more door-kicking and burning buildings.
Maybe we can check if Terra is a tomb while we're at it.
Now, my brothers and sisters, radical or Puritan, the only thing you need to do is vote for me as your inquisitorial representative. I will travel with my feet to Terra, find the culprit who's behind these messages, and kill him for the Emperor.
Yeah, so that's not gonna work. Getting a hold of Magnus is a tall order. He's not exactly in One Piece. The One Piece? One Piece is real? So yeah, so far so good. I definitely can see why people actually fucking enjoy this series. Let me... Oh, there we go. I can definitely see why people enjoy this series. It's funny. It gets you like it gets you more familiar with the lore. Overall, yeah, really great. And this is like the very beginning, so I'm assuming the quality, the length, they all like go up. These projects usually do things like that. They scale up with each and every episode, which doesn't always work out. Sometimes I mean, like, if like I said before, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is like my absolutely favorite fun project that I ever seen. And like at some point the episodes took like months or even years to come out because like they have been tinkering on them for so long. So, you know. He does have a name, referring back to the cowboy looking Inquisitor. He does have a name, but I forget what it is. I think he's a minor character that was given a model for the magazine. This is about where the text-to-speech series begins to split off into its own thing. The Emperor in the actual setting is capable of limited interaction, which does include granting an audience with Inquisitors. The problem with talking to him is the Emperor has changed into completely different sort of thing since he was probably alive. At this point, it would be like comparing an octopus to a person. I mean, obviously, fucking look at him. That's not exactly how... that's not exactly what you refer to as a human being. But that kind of thinking is heresy around these parts, cowboy, so you better watch your step. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you very much for all for joining me, and I will definitely be checking out the rest of the series. Couple episodes at a time, probably on later streams. But this has been like a nice intro to this series. I don't know how long it is. I don't think it's like that long. It has like couple teen episodes or something. By the time one of his sons managed to meet with him, Gulliman, his son likened meeting him. Blah blah blah. His son likened meeting him to trying to. And the fucking emoji is in the way, trying to talk to a star. Yeah. I mean, I imagine living for that long in that state, like, does something to you. Especially since he cannot directly talk, right? He can communicate, but not, like, directly talk to people, I think. And yeah. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. And for those of you who have not been here on stream, feel free to check out my streams. They usually happen around the weekend, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. This one, Sunday usually not. This one has been a special case where I didn't have time to stream on Saturday or Friday, so... yeah, if you're watching this later on YouTube, feel free to check out if I have an upcoming stream, if you're interested in like interacting with me directly via chat. And yeah, again, thanks for watching, and we will surely see each other in the next one, whatever that might be, you know.